All right, today we're going to do decomposers. So you have this paper in your packet, and you're going to want to take this paper in your packet and take it out, and then you're going to want to cut along, but watch how you want to cut it. So when you cut it, you want it to kind of be a flower. So you're not going to cut it from the center octagon. That's the part you're going to glue down in your decomposers page. But then each of these little, I guess it's a hexagon, will come off, unfold up, but they're still all attached to the decomposer hexagon. All right, so when you have this all cut out and you just glue down the decomposers again, so each of these makes a little flap. When you have all that done, then go ahead and push play and you're ready to begin. All right, so now you should have this all glued down. When you lift up your flaps, each one behind it should be blank. We're going to go through a decomposers PowerPoint, and then you're going to answer each, fill in information about each type of decomposer that we learn about in the PowerPoint. Again, so you have the bacteria, invertebrates, and fungi. And when we learn about it, you're going to lift it up, and then you're going to write some notes about them. You get to pick what notes you write about it. Write down things that will help you remember what they are and what their role is in an ecosystem. All right, so first we're going to talk about some decomposers. All right, first, what are decomposers? Well, hopefully you kind of have a good general idea of what decomposers are from the video that you watched before this. Decomposers are extremely important in the nutrient cycle, especially nitrogen and oxygen and carbon. They play a huge role in those nutrients. A decomposer is an organism, often a bacterium or fungus, that feeds on and breaks down dead plant or animal matter, thus making organic nutrients available to the ecosystem. So decomposers, they are the ones that break down, but when they break things down, they release or use important nutrients. They kind of separate, is what I should say, some important nutrients, and we'll kind of learn more about that. So scavengers actually are a type of decomposer. We don't focus a lot on scavengers. We're going to focus on the three different kinds of decomposers. There are scavengers that find dead animals and eat them and help break down that organic material. Some examples are flies, wasps, cockroaches, and earthworms. So all of these are scavenger type decomposers. All right, we're going to talk about the three different kinds of decomposers. Remember, decomposers are organisms that break down dead and decaying organisms, and they carry out the natural process of decomposition. All right, the three: fungi, bacteria, and invertebrates. Let's go to the first one, fungi. So again, you're going to want to write some of this information underneath your little fungi flap on your packet. So fungi, the first thing, they are not plants. A lot of people think fungi are plants, but they're not. So here we have some pictures of fungi, right? Well, you've probably definitely seen the first one, some mold on moldy plants. I mean, on our fruits or vegetables when the food goes bad, which is nice because then it breaks down that food for us. This can also happen on plants. Mushrooms are also a type of fungus. There's lots of different types of mushrooms. Some fungi we actually eat. So like penicillin, soy sauce, different cheese, some cheeses, definitely different ones that come from that. So fungi, they release a chemical which breaks down the plant or the food and breaks it down into a simpler substance. So then the fungi can absorb the substances and continue to grow. But they also release some important nutrients from that plant. So this is kind of how decomposers decompose dead things. So here we have our fungus. Okay, it releases these enzymes. So think of it as kind of like an acid maybe to kind of break something down and make it smaller, or cut something big into smaller bite-sized pieces, if you will, for them. The enzymes digest the dead matter and make it soluble, meaning so that they can digest it and eat it. The soluble products are taken up by the fungus. Our next one is bacteria. Bacteria have no nucleus. And later on in biology in later years, you'll kind of learn about what a cell is and what nuclei or what a nucleus is. But bacteria, they don't have a nucleus. They recycle dead plants and animals by turning them into minerals and nutrients that plants can use. Bacteria also, we can't see them with our eyes. We only can see them with a microscope. And our last one are invertebrates, right? Invertebrates, these are ones we can definitely see invertebrates. An invertebrate is an animal that doesn't have a backbone or kind of like a spine. If you like, so some examples are worms, leeches, flies, and millipedes. Invertebrates, the most common ones are worms, flies, and what we call wood lice. Earthworms digest rotting plants and animal matter, fungi and bacteria as they swallow soil. The waste that comes out of their bodies at the other end contains important minerals and nutrients ready for plants to absorb. Millipedes and the wood lice and flies do a similar process as the worms, but they do them at different rates, meaning some animals decompose matter faster than others. But earthworms rely on the fungi, right, and bacteria and rotting plants for their food. But our millipedes and flies can rely on other foods. Excuse me, centipedes are part of the decomposer group because they eat other invertebrate decomposers, therefore keeping the decomposer populations balanced. All right, so decomposers, 3 different types: fungi, invertebrates, and bacteria. And also talking about why they're important, why we need them. So doing kind of a quick recap. So we have fungi, right? Funguses are simple organisms that are not plants. Some examples are mold, mushrooms. Bacteria are microscopic single-cell organisms. We can't see them with our eye, and they don't have a nucleus. Bacteria exist all around us. We have really good and healthy bacteria inside of us that help our bodies, and they're also all around us. And then the last one, invertebrates. Invertebrates means they don't have a backbone. 95% of all animal species are invertebrates. So they're a big portion of our animal species. All right, now we have 3 questions on our little decomposer guide. So on your 3 questions, first one says, what does the food decomposers consume turn into? They turn into chemical nutrients, which are extremely important for plants, animals, and even us. So they turn into chemical nutrients. How do decomposers help us? They recycle dead plants and material. They get rid of the dead or plants and material that we no longer need, and they get rid of the item, but they release back the nutrients, which we do need. And then last question, what would happen if decomposers are removed from the ecosystem? So here we have, a little food chain, a little cycle occurring. If we took the decomposers out, think of that if when organisms died, that they just sat there and never decomposed, right? Not too fun. It would actually be really gross. And our plants and animals wouldn't get the essential nutrients that they need. All right, that's all about decomposers. We'll talk to you tomorrow.